You know, we've been singing all our lives. I've been singing all of my life. My whole family, we grew up in the church singing, but I've been singing professionally for the public for over 40 years now.
What does it really take to build a marriage that can withstand fame, constant public attention, and the pressures of a demanding career? CeCe Winans has recently opened up about the journey she and Alvin Love the Second have shared, offering a rare look at the faith, sacrifices, and unwavering commitment that carried them through every season of life. But behind their inspiring story lies a truth that many fans never expected to hear. How one unexpected encounter started a lifetime together. Every lasting love story has a beginning, but few start in a way that eventually inspires millions. Long before CeCe Winans became one of gospel music's most celebrated voices, she experienced a meeting that quietly changed the direction of her life. Looking back today, it's easy to see that what seemed like an ordinary moment was actually the first step toward a partnership that would endure decades of triumphs, challenges, and unwavering faith. Their paths crossed through CeCe's late brother, Ron Winans, who introduced her to Alvin Love the Second during an outing at a bowling alley. At the time, neither of them could have predicted how significant that meeting would become. Yet from their very first conversations, they discovered something that mattered far more than shared interests. They were united by the same spiritual convictions, similar life goals, and a deep desire to build a future centered on faith. That common foundation quickly drew them closer. Rather than allowing their relationship to unfold without direction, they approached it with purpose. They spent time praying, getting to know one another, and making sure they shared the same vision for marriage and family. Their connection continued to grow until they decided they were ready to begin the next chapter together. In 1984, at just 20 years old, CeCe and Alvin exchanged wedding vows. While many couples their age were still trying to figure out their future, they committed themselves to building a marriage rooted in loyalty, trust, and their relationship with God. Those principles would eventually become the anchor that carried them through every season that followed. As CeCe's musical gift began attracting wider recognition, new opportunities arrived one after another. Recording sessions, live performances, and growing public attention gradually became part of everyday life. Behind the scenes, however, Alvin remained one of her strongest supporters. Rather than competing with her success or stepping into the spotlight himself, he encouraged her to embrace the calling she believed God had placed on her life. His support extended far beyond cheering from the sidelines. Alvin became a steady source of encouragement whenever the demands of the industry became overwhelming. While audiences saw CeCe delivering powerful performances, they rarely witnessed the quiet sacrifices taking place behind closed doors. Together, they worked to ensure that growing success would never come at the expense of their marriage or the values they had promised to protect. Of course, building a life together was not without obstacles. As CeCe's schedule became increasingly demanding, extended travel and time spent away from home created challenges that many couples would find difficult to overcome. Instead of allowing distance to create division, they made a conscious decision to strengthen their communication and lean even more heavily on prayer. Those daily choices gradually reinforced the trust that already existed between them. As their family expanded, so did their responsibilities. Welcoming 2 children into their lives required an even greater commitment to balancing ministry, music, and parenthood. Through every new milestone, Alvin continued providing stability at home, while CeCe remained determined to place her family above public recognition whenever possible. Their story became less about celebrity and more about building a home filled with love, consistency, and faith. Years later, many people would admire the strength of their marriage, but the foundation wasn't built through grand gestures or perfect circumstances. It was formed through countless ordinary decisions to remain faithful, supportive, and united despite life's changing seasons. Yet, as remarkable as their love story became, CeCe would later reveal that one powerful force shaped every decision they made: and that deeper truth would become the heart of everything they built together. The secret, they say, saved their relationship. As CeCe Winans has reflected on the journey she and Alvin Love the Second have shared, one message continues to surface above everything else. While many people assume that lasting marriages are built on chemistry or good fortune, CeCe has consistently pointed to something much deeper. She believes the true strength of their relationship came from the decision they made long ago to place their faith at the center of every season of life. That commitment became increasingly important as CeCe's career continued to grow. Success brought exciting opportunities, but it also introduced pressures that could easily have placed strain on their marriage. Concert tours, recording sessions, interviews, and ministry commitments often required long hours and frequent travel. Those demands left little room for a predictable routine, something many families depend on to stay connected. Instead of allowing those challenges to slowly create distance between them, CeCe and Alvin chose a different path. They viewed every obstacle as something they would face together, rather than individually. Prayer became more than a tradition. It became a regular part of how they approached difficult decisions, resolved disagreements, and found direction during uncertain moments. Rather than relying only on their own understanding, they believed that seeking God's guidance gave them the clarity they needed to move forward as one. Alvin's role became especially important during the busiest years of CeCe's career. While audiences celebrated her achievements, he remained focused on protecting the foundation they had built at home. Time and again, he reminded CeCe to keep her priorities in the right order, encouraging her to stay grounded despite the growing recognition surrounding her name. His steady support helped ensure that success never became more important than their marriage or their shared values. Over the years, that same foundation inspired them to expand their ministry beyond music. In 2012, CeCe and Alvin accepted a new calling when they co-founded Nashville Life Church. The decision reflected a desire to serve others in an even more personal way. Rather than simply performing songs about faith, they wanted to create a place where people could gather, worship, learn, and strengthen their own spiritual lives. Building the church became another chapter in their shared mission. Their vision centered on welcoming people from every background and creating an environment where individuals and families could experience encouragement, hope, and a sense of belonging. Alongside regular worship services, they supported community outreach, invested in local initiatives, and worked to provide practical help for people facing difficult circumstances. Their ministry also placed a strong emphasis on the next generation. CeCe and Alvin have often expressed the importance of helping young people develop character, purpose, and lasting values. They have supported efforts that encourage families, provide resources for those experiencing financial hardship, and remind others that faith should be demonstrated through compassion as much as words. For them, serving others has never been separate from their marriage. It has been an extension of it. Looking back, it's easy to see why CeCe believes their relationship endured while so many others struggled under similar pressures. Their story wasn't built around avoiding hardship, but around deciding how they would respond when hardship arrived. Every challenge became another opportunity to strengthen the promises they had made years earlier. Yet even with such a solid spiritual foundation, another test awaited them at home. Raising children while balancing international success would require sacrifices neither of them could fully anticipate. And the way they handled that chapter would reveal another side of their remarkable partnership. What happened when the cameras turned off? While audiences admired CeCe Winans for her powerful voice and inspiring performances, the moments that mattered most unfolded far from concert stages and recording studios. Once the lights dimmed and the public appearances ended, another responsibility demanded her full attention. At home, she wasn't simply a celebrated gospel artist. She was a wife, a mother, and someone determined to build a family that remained grounded despite living in the public eye. As CeCe's career continued to expand, Balancing professional success with family life became one of her greatest challenges. Touring, recording albums, attending interviews, and fulfilling ministry commitments often meant spending long periods away from home. For many families, that kind of schedule can slowly create emotional distance. CeCe and Alvin, however, refused to let busy calendars define the atmosphere inside their home. From the very beginning, they agreed that their children would come before public recognition whenever possible. Their son, Alvin Love the Third, and their daughter, Ashley Phillips, were raised in an environment where faith, honesty, and respect carried more importance than celebrity status. Although their parents were well known, they worked intentionally to give their children a stable upbringing rather than one centered around fame. Whenever travel became unavoidable, CeCe found creative ways to remain closely connected with her family. She stayed in regular contact through phone calls, encouraging conversations, and whenever circumstances allowed, she even brought her children along during certain trips. Those efforts reflected a simple priority. No matter where her career took her, she wanted her children to know they remained at the center of her life. While CeCe fulfilled her calling through music, Alvin provided the consistency that kept everything running smoothly at home. His active role as a father created stability during the seasons when ministry and music required CeCe's attention elsewhere. Rather than viewing parenting as separate responsibilities, they approached it as a shared partnership, each stepping in wherever the family needed them most. Their influence reached beyond providing daily care. CeCe and Alvin intentionally modeled the values they hoped their children would one day embrace themselves. Family prayers, shared meals, meaningful conversations, and quiet moments together became traditions that strengthened trust and created lasting memories. Instead of relying on grand gestures, they built their household through small, consistent acts of love that accumulated over the years. As their children grew older, those lessons began to reveal themselves in different ways. Alvin Love the Third developed a successful career as a producer and songwriter, continuing his family's musical legacy while collaborating on projects with his mother. Ashley Phillips chose a different professional path, yet she carried forward the same faith, discipline, and strong values that had shaped her childhood. Although each pursued a unique journey, both reflected the foundation their parents had worked so hard to establish. Eventually, another joyful chapter arrived when CeCe and Alvin became grandparents. Welcoming 4 grandchildren brought fresh excitement into their lives and gave them another opportunity to pass along the principles that had guided their family for decades. CeCe has often expressed how much she treasures watching the next generation grow, celebrating milestones, creating memories, and enjoying the blessing of seeing her family's legacy continue. Looking at their journey from the outside, it becomes clear that CeCe's greatest achievements were never measured only by awards, chart success, or sold-out performances. The family she and Alvin built together became an equally meaningful part of their legacy. Yet after nearly 4 decades of marriage, fans still wondered what truly kept their relationship so strong. When they reached an extraordinary milestone together, CeCe and Alvin finally shared the lessons they believed mattered most, and their reflections offered an even deeper understanding of the marriage that had inspired so many. After 40 years, CeCe finally shared the truth. Reaching 4 decades of marriage is an achievement few couples experience, especially while navigating the demands of public life. In 2024, CeCe Winans and Alvin Love the Second celebrated their 40th wedding anniversary, marking a milestone that represented far more than the passing of time. It became an opportunity to reflect on the journey they had built together and to share the principles that had quietly sustained their relationship through every season. To commemorate the occasion, the couple participated in a special anniversary photo shoot in Nashville, a city that has played a significant role in both their ministry and music careers. The images captured more than elegant portraits. They reflected years of shared victories, personal sacrifices, and unwavering commitment. For many fans, the celebration offered a glimpse into a relationship that had remained remarkably strong despite decades in the spotlight. As people admired the milestone, many wondered the same thing. What had truly kept their marriage intact for 40 years? CeCe didn't point to fame, success, or even compatibility alone. Instead, she highlighted the everyday habits that often go unnoticed but become the foundation of lasting relationships. CeCe has often said that honest communication has been one of the foundations of their marriage. Open and sincere conversations helped them navigate challenges, resolve misunderstandings, and strengthen their trust over the years. She also believes that trust is built gradually through consistency, faithfulness, and a shared commitment to one another. Even as increasing responsibilities, demanding schedules, and public attention brought added pressures, they chose to remain united, believe in each other's intentions, and protect the strong relationship they had spent years building together. At the center of everything remained the same spiritual foundation they established when they were first married. Daily prayer and shared faith continued to guide their decisions, offering direction during uncertain moments and reminding them of the commitment they had made before God. Rather than viewing faith as something reserved for church services, they incorporated it into everyday life, allowing it to influence how they handled disagreements, celebrated victories, and planned for the future. Alvin has also shared his perspective on the success of their marriage. While many people recognize CeCe for her accomplishments in gospel music, he has consistently described their relationship as a true partnership. Supporting one another's individual callings while protecting their shared priorities became one of the defining characteristics of their life together. He has often expressed that a healthy marriage isn't about one person shining brighter than the other, but about helping each other become the best versions of themselves. Looking back over 40 years, both CeCe and Alvin have acknowledged that their marriage was never without challenges. They have never portrayed their relationship as perfect or effortless. Instead, they have spoken about patience, forgiveness, adaptability, and the willingness to grow together through every stage of life. Those lessons, earned through experience rather than theory, became part of the legacy they now share with others. Yet, despite celebrating such an extraordinary milestone, public curiosity never completely disappeared. As their anniversary drew renewed attention to their relationship, old rumors and speculation began resurfacing once again. It set the stage for CeCe to address one final question that had followed their marriage for years, and her response would challenge many of the assumptions people had long believed. CeCe finally addresses the speculation. For a couple that has spent decades in the public eye, attention has never been limited to music or ministry. Like many well-known figures, CeCe Winans and Alvin Love the Second have occasionally found themselves at the center of rumors that questioned the strength of their marriage. Over the years, stories suggesting marital trouble or even divorce surfaced from time to time, leaving some fans wondering whether there was any truth behind the speculation. As interest in their relationship continued to grow, CeCe eventually addressed those assumptions by focusing on what mattered most, rather than the rumors themselves. Instead of fueling gossip, she consistently pointed people back to the foundation that had carried their marriage from the beginning. Her message remained remarkably consistent. Their relationship was built on faith, mutual respect, and a commitment that extended far beyond public appearances. One reason the speculation persisted was the demanding nature of CeCe's career. As one of gospel music's most recognizable voices, her schedule often included concerts, ministry events, interviews. To outsiders, those responsibilities appeared capable of placing enormous pressure on any marriage. Many people assumed that constant time apart would inevitably create distance between husband and wife. However, CeCe and Alvin's own experiences painted a very different picture. Rather than allowing busy schedules to weaken their relationship, they viewed each challenge as another opportunity to strengthen it. Throughout interviews and public conversations, CeCe has repeatedly expressed gratitude for Alvin's unwavering support, describing him as someone who encouraged her calling while remaining fully committed to their family. In return, Alvin has spoken about their marriage as a genuine partnership built on trust, teamwork, and shared purpose. CeCe has said that keeping God at the center of their marriage has always guided their decisions, helping them navigate conflict and difficult seasons. Their relationship also challenges the belief that lasting marriages are rare in entertainment, showing that shared values, faith, and intentional commitment can help balance both family life and career success. At the same time, neither of them has ever claimed that marriage is effortless. They have openly acknowledged that every long-term relationship faces obstacles, moments of uncertainty, and seasons that require patience. What sets their journey apart is not the absence of challenges, but their willingness to face those challenges together instead of allowing them to create lasting division. That honesty has made their message resonate with couples far beyond the world of gospel music. In the end, perhaps the greatest surprise wasn't that CeCe finally spoke about her husband. It was that her silence revealed no hidden scandal, dramatic confession, or shocking betrayal. Instead, she offered something far less sensational but far more enduring. A reminder that lasting love is built one decision at a time through trust, faith, sacrifice, and unwavering commitment. In a culture captivated by headlines and controversy, CeCe Winans and Alvin Love the Second proved that the most extraordinary story isn't one that falls apart under pressure. It's one that continues to stand strong after 40 years, inspiring countless others to believe that a marriage rooted in purpose can truly withstand the test of time. Thank you for watching. If CeCe Winans and Alvin Love the Second's inspiring journey touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Be sure to watch our next video.